Do you believe your grandfather is racist?
I believe he holds racist tendencies and beliefs.
Why do you say that?
He's just a stock American Christian male. It's older, that's just how they are. It's the conspiracies and weird random racist things they say out sound, and it doesn't make sense, but they're just scared.
What do you mean by that? What do you mean they're scared? Talk to me more, please.
Yeah, it's just I feel like a lot of people of that generation are caught up in this 24-hour news cycle of fear and paranoia perpetuated by some other news stations, and he was fully into that, sit and watch Fox News all day, every day, blaring in his living room. And I think that stuff really kind of reinforces this negative view of minority groups and leads people to be doesn't necessarily lead people to be racist, but it reinforces and galvanizes racist people and their beliefs.
That's Clint Ludwig, the grandson of Andrew Lester, who's been arrested and charged with shooting Ralph Yarl. And he's pointing out how his propaganda watching and also his thought processes towards certain folks may have led him to do that shooting through his front door window, or whatever that glass door he shot Ralph through. There's a little bit more, though, because he, after he was asked about the things that Lester might be believing and that led him to this point, he had this to say.
A lot of it was the kind of QAnon level conspiracies about election denying, and then they got really weird with some Fauci dogs. I really didn't know what that meant, but I would push back on some of this stuff, and he couldn't handle being pushed back on. And at a certain point, we kind of lost touch, and I think it was more of his choice than mine. I feel like he's been pretty conservative for a long time, which is fine, but feel like in the last 5 or 6 years, it's really ramped up. He was a huge Trump supporter, and between that and then the galvanizing that people have been feeling lately with politicians and ideologues co-signing, violence and domestic violence, domestic terrorism, and even pardoning people who murder other people for differing political beliefs. I feel like all that stuff has really ramped up his beliefs and radicalized him a little bit.
So you feel he's radicalized. He has these QAnon type thoughts. He's watching tons of conservative media that is filling his brain with more of this stuff, or at least allowing him to think that this is a normal thought. And maybe you should also act on it. That's the key part about this. All these thoughts has been racist since the beginning of time. It's just how much they think they can get away with these things. Again, throughout our history, we've seen how open people are about this. But they're kind of more open about it more and more lately. We wonder why. But there's one more part about this. He's got those issues with him. But then again, what about the guns? The guns is always the thing. He also addressed that in the way that he thought about his guns. Watch.
Did your grandfather have a gun or more weapons in the house?
They were all over, yes.
What do you mean, they?
The guns were all over. He had them stashed in some spots and had a big locker full of them. But yeah, he was ready to defend his home, as he would say.
He was ready to defend his home, as he would say, Jackson. And one other part he did point out to the Kansas City Star was that after he heard about this, he said, yeah, I could see him doing that. I didn't really think he would, but once I heard, yeah, it all adds up. Some folks were saying, Jackson, that he was throwing his family member under the bus with this type of interview. Is he turning on his family?
It seems like he doesn't really have much of a connection to him. I think if he did, he wouldn't. I mean, he doesn't care. You know what I'm saying? Right. So I think that says a lot. It says a lot that he really doesn't care. But, there's a couple of things. One, I think it's really important to focus on the power of media, social media, or anything that you get sucked into that is not the real world. Whether it's people watching Fox News who think the country's being taken over, we're losing the country to X, Y, and Z. Or even if you look at younger men who look at dating information, like red pill, manosphere type of stuff online, and they develop all these beliefs like women are like this and women are like that. And if you are 6'5" and make $1 million a year, women aren't going to want you. have y'all ever been outside before? Like, all you need to do is go outside and look around, and you'll see that everything that you spew is complete nonsense. And it's a similar thing with these old people who watch Fox News. Now, unfortunately, it leads to tragedies, where someone can just come to your the wrong house and get shot in the head. But on the other side, it's like, people who are like 85 plus years old on their way out the door, who are terrified of what is the country losing? Like, y'all about to die. You know what I'm saying? And it's like that's really like, it's funny and messed up, but at the same time, it's the truth. Like, what are you so afraid of losing? You're not going to be around to see it anyway. You know what I mean? Like, but that's the power of media. You get to living your life through the internet or through television instead of actually being out here and actually having real relationships with genuine people.
I wouldn't love to see it, but imagine going to maybe some of these folks' houses, the things that they're looking to defend.
Right.
Defending my castle, bro. Get a castle.
Right. You're behind on your mortgage.
You know
what I'm saying? Like, but no, I was just adding to the joke of what you're saying. You're behind on your mortgage, and what are you really defending? You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah.
A lot of times not much, because that's what has these folks so mad, is the situations that they're in, and those folks are coming to get my stuff. What do you have besides a locker full of guns that you really use on folks?
A bunch of fear and hatred is what they got.
It's outrageous.